It is 4 p.m. We're bringing developing news and the stories behind the headlines. This is Torico on the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao. Some stories we're watching this last Friday of the year, December 26. The Independent Commission for Infrastructure, or the ICI, is making its final submissions to the Ombudsman as it enters a new phase in its probe of the flood control project scandal. ICI Chairman Andy Reyes says the panel has a, and we quote, clear time-bound mandate, which is to gather evidence, establish facts, and propose corrective measures. The statement comes after ICI Commissioner Rosana Fajardo stepped down, the second panel member to resign after Babe Singson. Fajardo believes that the prosecutorial and investigative responsibilities over the infrastructure mess should now transition to state agencies like the DOJ and the Ombudsman. Fajardo's last day with the ICI is December 31, or the last day of this year. Now, reactions to Fajardo's resignation were swift. ML Party List Congressman Laila de Lima says that, and we quote, "This could very well be the end of the ICI." She adds, dapat kasi meron ng ICAIC by now. That's the Independent Commission Against Infrastructure Corruption being pushed in the House, a panel with more powers to probe the flood control scandal. For the Makabayan Bloc, the ICI is a lost cause that has only exposed the anti-corruption rhetoric of the Marcos administration. And for Malacanang, Fajardo has already fulfilled her tasks under her mandate. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro has responded to Senator Ping Lacson's statements over the alleged files of the late Public Works Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral, now supposedly with Batangas Congressman Leandro Lebiste. Lacson has said it is too early for Malacanang to brand claims related to the insertions as mere hearsay. But Palace Press Officer Claire Castro maintains that the files are just that, hearsay, until they are verified by the Public Works Department. She adds that the so-called Lebiste list does not affect evidence already uncovered by hearings of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, which Lacson chairs. Castro also stresses that President Marcos has made it clear that all responsible parties will be held accountable, and allegations of a palace cover-up are unacceptable. The files refer to project proponents for possible inclusion in the National Expenditure Program, or the NEP, and do not by themselves prove illegal acts or misuse of funds. General Nicolas Torre III has taken his oath before Executive Secretary Ralph Recto as the new General Manager of the MMDA, the Metro Manila Development Authority. For the National Police Commission, Torre's acceptance of the post means that he is officially resigned from the police force. This could pave the way for PNP Chief Lieutenant General Jose Melencio Nartates Jr. to finally get a 4-star rank. And the net trust rating of President Bongbong Marcos in the last quarter of 2025 fell to negative 3%, while VP Sara Duterte's rose to 31%. That is according to a commission survey by the social weather stations conducted from November 24 to November 30. The poll shows Marcos with a much trust rating of 38% against 41% who said they have little trust in him. Duterte posted a much trust score of 56% against 26% with little trust, giving her a positive net trust rating. The survey had 1,200 adult Filipino respondents with error margins of plus or minus 3% for national percentages and plus or minus 6% for each area group. And joining us today, finally, we have him here with us in person. At siyempre, naka-quote pa siya ngayon. Bago masabi nga niya, may kulukulubot ng konti. Ang ating resident political pundit at heckler, si Tito Ronald Llamas.
Gandang hapon po, ating lahat. No? Happy New Year. Kamusta mga Pasko nyo?
Hindi ka na traffic ngayon.
Ha?
Hindi ka na traffic.
Hindi masyado.
Maluwag ngayon.
Hindi masyado.
Mga tao ngayon may chill na konti.
Hindi 3 hours, kahit may EDSA rehabilitation.
Oh. Hindi yung EDSA rehab, banda sa amin banda south So far I think it's moving northwards pa lang
Binabanata na nga
Oo nga.
Parang problema dito sa EDSA, dami pido, dami pidon.
That's also true. Okay. Tanong natin ng Editor-in-Chief ng Philippine Star, si Ami Pamintuan, na hindi dumadaan ng EDSA.
Ang layo
Hello,
niyan.
everyone. Ako happy dahil hindi dumadaan nga ng EDSA.
Oh, dahil Paranaque si Hami. Paranaque nakatira, tsaka Paranaque Opisina.
Ang layo niyan.
Oo. Kaya no problem. Kaya lang marami sa amin na apektuhan dito.
Ibang planeta yung Paranaque. Parang Pluto yan eh, pag kumpara sa Quezon City.
Kaya parati si Ami mukhang chill na chill. Oh. Yung mga ganyang ngiti. Oh.
Yan
Hindi ka ni...
Naka-green na ako for New Year
Oo.
Hindi ka ni Ronald. Si Ronald, pag dumating dito minsan parang yung buhok niya
Gula-gula
nakaganon
niya.
Ibig sabihin, meron pang buhok. Salamat ha.
May konti pa naman ka naman.
Salamat, ha? Salamat.
May konti. Hindi ko sinabi sa ulo. Buhok mo dito sa ano.
Nag-safe house kami ng Pasko.
pinag-usapan
Ami,
namin?
puro pinag-usapan namin, pagkain.
Oo nga.
Pagkain, walang politika.
Pagkain.
Oo nga.
Kami ni Ami, politika pinag-usapan namin.
Talaga.
Oo.
Seryoso kayo kahit Pasko ha.
Oh, di ba? Guest yung ako
year
sa
ender na yun eh.
Kami pinag-usapan namin sa safe house noon was baboy ramo, bayawak, yung mga ganun ba?
Paano ba masarap lutuin? Oh.
Puro mga endanger yun, taga.
Hindi, baboy damo hindi ma-endangered sa Pilipinas.
Di ba
Dami nun eh.
Di
Lalo
ba siya,
na-
di ba siya wala sa listansya?
Sa Basilan? Hindi, sa Basilan, dami nun.
Oo.
Peste nga yung tawag doon eh,
Yeah.
peste.
Kasi ilan naman kumakain dun sa Basilan
Pero
sa Solo.
meron siyang meron siyang protected dyan.
Protected siya.
Baka hindi,
Protected siya.
baka hindi sa Basilan. Sa Basilan, parang peste siya, kinakain yung gulay eh. Ng mga brother Muslim natin doon.
So, pest control.
Oo.
Pinaparami natin siya eh.
Tapos hindi naman nila pwedeng,
Protected siya. oo.
hindi naman nila
Pwede
pwedeng kainin.
Actually, hindi ka pwedeng hawakan eh.
Oh, hindi nila pwedeng kainin. So kinakain yung mga gulay nila.
Kaya ganon. Oh.
Oh, kaya kami mga Kristiyano nag-hunting.
Kaya kami
Noon,
matulungin.
ako pa naman yun, 30 years ago.
Mga matulungin kami, mga matulungin.
Oh, mga 35 years ago pala yun. Tumira ako sa Basilan.
Oh.
Talaga
Paano na
25
yan?
years ago.
Ano na yan, Ronald? Below zero na.
Negative 3%. Malapit-lapit na
Oh,
kay
below
GMA.
zero.
Malapit-lapit na kay GMA. Ha? Si GMA kasi negative 11.
Hindi.
Negative 11.
Negative 62 ha. Nag-negative 62 si GMA.
Negative 62?
December 2011.
Meron bang negative 62?
GMA. Net siya, no? Net.
Oh.
Pwede
Net
naman.
Si ERAP, January 2001, bago siya matanggal. Net Trust, negative 21.
So,
Yan yung dalawang pinakamabababa.
Si BBM continues to slide coming from September going to November. Si Sara continues to go, inch up. Hindi naman siya malaking increase pero
medyo ano
nag-improve
siya.
pa rin siya kahit maliit.
Incremental.
Incremental.
Medyo steady.
Mm.
Hindi siya kapareho ng tatay niya. Yung tatay niya, si Digong pinakamababang net trust noon. Net positive 57.
Si
Yan ang
Pinoy,
pinakamababa niya.
si Pinoy positive 40 nung natapos yung term.
Si Noynoy, mataas din. Yun.
So, but kung titingnan
Kaya
mo yung by area, si Bongbong Marcos, mababa siya sa Metro Manila, tsaka sa Visayas at Mindanao. Lamang lang siya.
Lahat na yan, ano ka ba?
Hindi, lamang lang siya sa Balance Luzon. Nag-positive lang siya
Balance
sa Balance
Luzon,
Luzon.
Solid North na yon.
Oo, yan. It's a solid north eh. Pero other than Balance Luzon, NCR, Visayas, and Mindanao, negative siya, net negative.
Delikado buhay mo kung magganyan ka. Kapag Metro Manila at Mindanao, mababa ka, medyo delikado yon, di ba?
Mahalaga yung Metro Manila.
Metro Manila nga.
Dito nangyayari yung mga pricing eh.
Si VP Sara sa Metro Manila, net positive na 2 percentage points.
Yeah, that's very low.
Pareha silang mababa.
Kaya dito sa Metro Manila talaga, silang dalawa, kung papipiliin siguro, none of the above pipiliin yung mga tao.
Hindi, pero si Manny Mogato positive sa Metro Manila.
Si Mogs? Bakit?
Siya yung gusto kong tumakbong presidente.
Gisingin mo muna kaya.
Yun yung none of the above. Yun yung none of the above nga.
Malaki rin yung undecided
But
Kaya
interestingly,
nga, yun na nga.
pero baka
None of the
interestingly,
above nga.
si Sara Duterte sa Balance Luzon, kung saan malakas si Marcos, ano rin siya, net positive. 30, 42, positive 12. Net positive 12 siya sa Balance Luzon.
Wala sila sa lolo ko. Si Manny Mugato. Yun ang programa ni Manny Mugato, Ami. Wala ka sa lolo ko.
Kuha ko na si Mugs. Ikaw, sukat-sukat na dila nun.
Uy, papuri yun, ha?
Oo nga.
Oo, papuri yun, ha? Mas mataas siya kaysa kay Sara at kay BBM.
Pero ang laki ng ang laki ng net positive ni Sara sa Mindanao, of course.
Yeah.
83 yung much trust, 9 yung little trust. Laki din niya sa Visayas, 64 versus 21. So, but is this expected? Kasi one would have thought na with the president nung SONA na he went all out with this Mahiya Naman Kayo campaign na he would have regained kahit paano some ground eh.
Pero unang-una, tapos na Pasko, wala pa tayo nakakulong na malaking tao.
Ay, hindi pa reflected yun dito.
Kailan ba yan?
Kaya
November
nga,
yan,
pero
di ba?
matagal
November
nang
to eh.
sinasabi yan ng mga ano eh.
November yan. Wala pa yun.
Di ba pa yun? Di ba pa yun?
Ibig sabihin, pwede pang bumaba.
Okay, that's where we're headed, I suppose eh.
Oo.
Kaya nga. Oh.
Actually, I was asking kagabi si Ranjit Rai ng Octa Research kasi sabi ko, I'm sure by this time meron na kayong fourth quarter survey, yung kanilang tugon ng masa.
Wala pa eh.
Hindi pa nilalabas. Pero sabi niya, yeah, we've done already the survey for the fourth quarter but we'll release it pa lang first week of January. Pero ang sabi niya, kasi yung third quarter survey nila, parehong may incremental decreases si Sara at si Bongbong eh. Incremental lang naman.
Pero
Sabi niya,
pero sa Okta kasi, mas mataas ang si BBM eh.
oo.
Kumpara halimbawa sa ibang survey firm.
Oo, si BBM sa Octa survey ng third quarter, more than majority pa siya. Si
Pero
Sara
ano
was at
yata yan
49.
performance and satisfaction yung kanila eh. Hindi siya trust.
Si Sara was at 49, si BBM was at 50-something. So si BBM ang labang pa doon sa Octa for the third quarter. Ang sabi niya, for the fourth quarter, although he wouldn't give us the figures yet, kasi lalabas pa nila next month, ang sabi niya, the trend has not changed. Pareho pa rin silang ganun. But he won't give the numbers yet. Ang sabi niya is this is what was noticeable. The biggest challenge, according to Professor Ranjit Rai, the biggest challenge now to Philippine democracy is the erosion of public trust
Sa ating mga
in
institusyon.
democratic institutions because of infighting among the elites, referring to the two major families.
Hindi tayo kasama ron.
Well, hindi naman tayo elite.
Oo. Hindi, baka
mga illiterate tayo.
baka ikaw kasama. Kami amin.
Hindi elite, illiterate.
illiterate tayo, illiterate.
Hindi elite.
Ikaw, elite ka na, kuwang ka pa.
Illiterate lang.
Learned ka pa.
Ay, hindi
Kaya,
ako-
hindi ka namin ma-reach.
Hindi ako elite ha. Ang asawa ko siguro, pero hindi ako.
Pero yung pulse kasi, saka Okta, karamihan sa nila performance and sila eh.
Yeah.
Pareho sila, yung mga resulta nila sa
Performance and
performance
trust.
and satisfaction. Yung dalawa hindi nagkakalayo eh.
Pero yung mga, siguro
Si
yung mga,
Presidente saka si BP, hindi sila nagkakalayo doon. Sa performance, hindi ko alam kung bakit yung trust ang baba-baba.
pero siguro yung mga tao, hindi masyadong malinaw sa kanila yung difference eh.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Para sa kanila, parehas lang yan.
I can imagine
Baka mas madaling maintindihan kasi ang tanong dyan, di ba? May tiwala ka ba? Sa trust eh. Siguro mas naiintindihan yung may tiwala ka ba?
versus performance,
Kesa
which is
yung
happy
yung
ka ba?
performance.
Happy ka ba sa trabaho niya?
Satisfaction, oo.
But, yun nga.
Kaya
Yun nga, Ami.
Tapos, iba pa yung presidential preference.
Oh, yeah.
Ano, mas mababa si Sara doon sa presidential preference. Diba?
But I found very interesting yung sinabi nga ni Ranjit Rai kahapon, ni Professor Rai, na na the biggest challenge to democracy now in the Philippines is the erosion of trust of the public in the institutions. So,
Walang
talaga
tiwala,
naman.
walang
Oo.
tiwala sa Congress,
totoo
walang
naman.
tiwala sa Senado, walang tiwala sa executive, walang tiwala
because of
sa
the infighting
judiciary.
among the elite,
Pati judiciary na dapat yan yung huling hihina. Para sa mga tao, mahina rin.
But siyempre, my next question to that, after Ranjit Rai said that was, but given what happened last year, where there were all these rumors of, what could have been a coup attempt or
Revgov,
withdrawal support
junta.
or a military junta taking over, what are the chances of a further erosion in 2026 that could possibly be taken advantage of?
Delikado yung 2026 dahil yung economy is in a bad condition. No? Ikalawa ay hindi mawawala yung erosion of trust na yan ng basta-basta.
Lalala pa yan.
Lalong-lalo na kung hindi sila magpapakulong ng mga big fish. At wala silang mababawi sa mga ninakaw. No? Ang
At sa nakikita ngayon dun sa budget na nangyayari.
Yes. Oo.
Nandun pa rin yung soft pork.
Soft
Hindi
pork,
maitanggal-tanggal. Hindi lang nandun, nadagdagan pa.
unprogrammed funds, nandun pa rin.
Oh,
Diba?
nadagdagan pa eh.
Oo. Tapos ngayon, lumalabas na yung record ni Yuse Cabral na involved ang mga cabinet secretaries at maraming senador ang involved.
Kaya biglang nag-hearsay.
Tapos yung ICI pa, biglang
Dapat hindi ang handling diyan, Ami, di ba? Dapat hindi mo kagad sabihin na hearsay.
Oo.
Dapat sabihin mo lang, iimbestigahan namin. Ganun lang, di ba? Iimbestigahan namin lahat yan. Para hindi ka defensive.
i-text mo na dali.
Para hindi ka defensive. Hindi, nakikinig yun.
Hindi, kaya nag-react na nga si Ping Lacson, di ba?
Kaya nakikinig eh.
Eh, wag niyo muna i-dismiss outright.
Yes.
Tama yung reaction niya.
Oo.
But ayun nga, going back to what Ranjit was saying yesterday, not to encourage any extra constitutional attempts, pero if we do not address the issues of the diminution of trust on institutions, we're getting more and more into dangerous territory.
Yes. Apat yan eh. Una, yung Catholic Church na very strong yung kanilang position against anything extra-constitutional. Kung magbago yan, delikado. Kalawa, Iglesia ni Cristo na nagbago ng tono. Diba? Dati very anti-Marcos. Ngayon ay at the very least neutral. Ikatlo, military. Ano yun ang mahalaga? Yun ang motive force eh. Kung yung military ay mag-withdraw ng support o will stick with the Constitution. No? At ikaapat, ano ba yung ibibigay ng gobyerno? No? Halimbawa dito sa mga corrupt officials at sa reforma na hinihingi ng tao. So, yan yung mahalaga next year.
Pinaalis lahat.
May sagot na si Ami. Wala.
Ikaw talaga, Ami, para kang pero
Nakikita natin, matatapos na taon. Sige nga. Anong matatapos na taon? Magre-reenacted budget tayo dahil
Meron pa. Ikaw naman.
dahil ang
Ikaw, Ami.
dami-dami. Madidemanda sila dyan sa budget na yan na naman.
Ikaw, Ami, wala kang pasensya. May ilang araw pa eh.
Madidemanda na naman sila sa budget na yan. Pareho sa PhilHealth.
Tingin ko hindi sila makaka-quorum eh sa 29. Pero ang sabi naman nila, continuing session.
Pag
Pero,
hindi sila mag-call ng roll call, ibig sabihin dire-diretso pa yun.
Oo, pero kung may mag-invoke kasi ng quorum,
Yun lang.
doon sila magkukal.
Oo.
Siyempre, may mga dyan, may mga
Then they will have to
co-contra.
call a roll.
Yes. Tapos maraming congressman tsaka senador na sa out of the country eh. Kaya
Baka yung iba doon, di bumalik
karamihan doon, di ba?
Bok, ipaliwanag mo sistema sa Kongreso.
Baka hindi bumalik.
Kasi sa Kongreso medyo mahiwaga yung attendance eh. Pag sinabi nila minsan na perfect attendance yung congressman, hindi ibig sabihin na practice siyang nandun araw-araw dahil may nag-check ng attendance. Hindi ganun yun.
Oo. Pwedeng nagtuturok siya ng glutathione sa opisina niya. Wala ako naisip pahiwatig
Hindi lang yun. Bok, kasi ang sistema sa Kongreso, hindi sila talaga
Pipirma ka.
nag-adjourn. Nagsususpend lang sila ng session from day to day.
Pero ang haba nito suspension
So kung at the start of the regular session nag-attendance check sila at
perma.
the end of the session regular
hindi
session
nila
nag-adjourn sila.
Hindi nila kinlose.
Oo.
Continuing
Kahit
session
tatlong
yun.
buwan yan na hindi ka pumasok except dun sa unang araw tsaka sa huling araw, perfect attendance ka noon.
Ang sarap talaga maging congressman tsaka o senador, no? No, ha? Diba? Sarap?
Meron yata kayong guest dyan na congressman,
Andiyan ata si Congressman.
Nandyan
Okay, Malabok, let's bring in our first guest for today. Akbayan
yan.
Party List Congressman Percy Sendanya. Congressman Sendanya, welcome po to Storycon.
Welcome.
Magandang hapon po.
Happy New
Good
Year.
afternoon. Thank you. It's my first time apparently here in Story.
talaga?
Oo nga.
Talaga?
First time natin dito.
You're not that privileged para maimbita rito? Sorry.
Yes, that's why I felt so privileged that before the end of the year na imbitahan niyo ako sa StoryCon. Marami pong
yung
salamat.
self-esteem mo tumaas ng konti. At naimbitahan
By
ka rito.
0.5%,
Yan,
no? Medyo
tumaas, oo.
significant.
Don't worry, we will be
0.5%.
gentle with you. No? Kahit kinakatay namin yung Congress at Senate.
Sanay naman po tayo whether gentle, rough, or hard.
Yan.
Itong dalawang tayo. Okay, teka, mag-ano ka muna.
Pasensya na po, Miss Amy, Ed. Pasensya na po.
Mag-full disclosure ka muna. Ikaw talaga, mag-disclosure ka muna. Para
Ayoko nga.
para in fairness lang, full disclosure, si Ronald ay isa sa mga founder ng Akbayan. Full disclosure lang para walang sabi na.
Ngayon, Ami, artifact na lang ako. Inilalabas ako pag may foreign guest. Pinupunas-punasan, kasi papakilala. Ito yung aming founding president.
Independent Duster.
Ayun. Pag may mga foreign guests.
Teka, game na tayo. Sir, anyway, ito, of course, you've heard already, si Rosana Fajardo ay nagbitiw na po, effective katapusan ng buwan, the second of... The second of the 3 commissioners to let go this month.
Surprising.
Meaning by January 1, iisa na lang commissioner.
Oo nga. Ano yung isa? Advisor.
So where does that leave us? And what else can we expect from the ICI?
Alam mo, Ed, Ronald, Amy, kanina binabasa ko yung balita, iniisip ko agad, so paano sila mag-meeting? Walang quorum, di ba? To establish a quorum, you need 50% plus 1.
Continuing.
Isa na lang.
Continuing
Pwede.
session. Katulad nyo, continuing, di ba?
Pwede. Kung yung last meeting nila and bank ay suspended lamang, continuing yung quorum. Pero may mas basic na problem, who will second the relevant motions kung mag-isa lang yung presiding officer? So yan yung talagang ating concern dito sa ICI. Kita-kita natin itong with the resignation of Commissioner Rosana Fajardo and the resignation of former Secretary Babe Singson, talagang nasa ICU na, naghihingalo na itong ICI.
Galing Ano katagal mo pinag-isipan niya?
Congressman, magra-wrap up na daw sila Yun yung takbo ng salita
Tapos
ni
na daw yung mandate.
Chairman Reyes
Tapos na daw yung mandate.
They are wrapping up. Pati si Rosana Fajardo, sinabi niya
Yun ang-
She's done daw her task na assigned to her when she was recruited.
Ami, parang ang tunog nun, parang graceful exit.
Magsasara na sila.
Well, if they're saying na magra-wrap up na sila, that is one of the greatest tragedies pa, given this unprecedented corruption scandal na meron tayo. Ang masasabi lang ng taong bayan ay, yun na yun, hanggang dun lang, that's it, pansit. Nakaka-insulto naman when they say that they're wrapping up na ganitong kahit yung basic and very fundamental na pangako na bago magpasko, may mga malalaking isda na mahuhuli at makukulong, hindi nila na-fulfill at hindi nila natupad. So, ano na yung nangyayari doon sa commitment ng Malacanang? Kung itong ICI, ang tingin nila ay nagra-wrap up na sila. So talagang hindi talaga tama na body at this point yung ICI. Kailangan talaga natin ng isang ICAIC, yung created by law.
Yeah.
At hindi lamang ginawa ng Pangulo.
Pero kung paano halimbawa itong ICAIC, sinasabi ng ombudsman, siya na yung bahala. So ano magiging role kung sakali maaprubahan ng Kongreso at Senado at mapirmahan ng Presidente itong ICAIC? Ang sinasabi ng Malacanang, parang, yung DOJ na at ombudsman ang gagawa ng trabaho dyan. So, di ba nagiging redundant din kahit maaprubahan?
Well, we invite both the Ombudsman and the DOJ to look closely into our proposed bill. Kasi dito in-outline talaga very clearly paano yung modalities of cooperation at convergence ng ating mga government investigative bodies. Walang duplication, nako-complement ang bawat isa. And given the gargantuan task that is this multi-billion peso corruption scandal, kinakailangan talaga that they work together, they are harmonized, at kailangan ng isang body tulad ng ICAIC hanggang matapos yung trabaho ng pag-unpack at paghanap ng katotohanan dito sa bilyong-bilyong pisong ninakaw sa kaban ng bayan.
So, kung may distinction pa rin as well as complementation, may kaibahan pa rin siya sa DOJ at saka sa ombudsman. Baka yun ang kailangan mo ipaliwanag, Kong. Anong magiging kaibahan pag nabuo yung ICAIC kumpara sa ginagawa ng ombudsman at saka ng DOJ?
Siguro familiar yung mga kababayan natin pagdating sa social service, merong service delivery network. Ito yung tumitiyak na nakukuha ng isang tao, isang mamamayan, yung serbisyong kailangan niya doon sa mahabang proseso ng service delivery. Parang gano'n din dito, para siyang justice delivery network Tinitiyak nito na every step of the way, mayroong sumusubaybay, may tumututok, may nagko-compliment. At mismo nagsabi na nga dati yung ombudsman, kulang yung kanilang mga abogado. Kaya nag-hire pa sila ngayon. At sinasabi din ng investigative body, sa laki ng body of evidence na kinakailangan tingnan, hindi sapat yung current resources. Kaya kinakailangan ng reinforcement. The ICAIC is the necessary reinforcement. Ito yung isang body na created by law at truly independent. In fact, with the ICAIC, kung ma-appreciate lang truly ng Malacanang, mas magkakaroon ng credence at credibility yung ginagawang investigasyon at anti-corruption drive ng gobyerno. Kasi ito ay truly independent, hindi gawa ng presidente, hindi dependent sa Malacanang para sa funding at sa iba pang mga resources na kailangan nila. So with the ICAIC, magkakaroon ng credence at credibility yung anti-corruption efforts ng gobyerno unless may tinatago sila. Kaya ayaw nila maging truly independent ang isang komisyon na mag-iimbestiga ng infrastructure corruption.
Well, we also, sir, have a curious situation where the president called on Congress to give priority to giving more power to an independent body like the ICI, but at the same time, stopping short of certifying it as urgent. Kumbaga parang, sige na, i-prioritize na yan, pero hindi ko pipirmahan ng urgency niyan.
Ano bang kwan dyan? Balance of forces in terms of approval? May timeline ba kayo, Kong? Kung kailan yan possibly ma-aprubahan?
Kami akala namin papasa siya before the end of the year. Kasi nga nakita natin na mabilis yung pag-usad mula sa plenaryo, pagpasok sa komite, hanggang magawa yung committee report. Medyo napansin namin, parang nababalaho sa Committee on Appropriation. Kasi ang mga bagong batas na makikreate ng bagong body has to go through the Committee on Appropriation for the appropriations language, para sa budget language. Tapos napansin namin, bakit hindi pa siya tinetable sa Appropriations Committee? Kasi after doon, pwede na ipinal yung committee report, dadaan na sa plenaryo for third and final reading. Talagang bumagal towards the end. So, we're still figuring it out. Kami ay nagugulumihanan. Bakit bumagal? Nung malapit na sa finish line, bakit parang napagod at hiningal? Nabuo na nga yung committee report. Very active yung participation ng mga members of the House. So, sino ang pumipigil? O may pumipigil pa para ito maisa-ibatas agad?
Pero tingin niyo ba seryoso
Ano ba
yung
ibig sabihin
Malacanang
ng
na ipa-prioritize talaga ito? Kasi nga, yun nga prioritize daw pero hindi naman sinertify. And the argument being forwarded by Malacanang is we only certify as urgent pag may calamity, which is not exactly true because we had the Maharlika
it's
bill.
not true.
Maharlika bill was certified as urgent.
And this is one of the biggest calamities and emergencies in recent history. Billion-billion ang ninakaw sa kaban ng bayan. Kung hindi emergency yan at hindi yan dahilan para magpanik tayo, abay hindi ko na alam kung saan sila magpapanik at pagtitingin bilang emergency. Tapos, yung pagkakaiba lang ng certify as urgent, as priority, ito katatapos ng Pasko, yung bang parang napunta ka sa listahan ni Santa Claus na bibigyan ng regalo, pero hindi dineliver, binigay sa'yo yung regalo. Ganun yun, pangako lang siya. Hindi siya natatranslate into actual adjustments in the process. Had it been prioritized by Malacanang, disin sana mabilis yung proseso, na-cut short yung ilang mga steps along the way, and before kami mag-adjourn ng 22, dapat na-approve na siya on third and final reading. Baka nga dapat nababaycam na siya before the end of the year. So, kitang-kita natin, itong pangako ng Malacanang, it's just a propaganda call. Wala siyang laman, wala siyang meat.
Baka naughty kayo, kaya nakatulugan ni Santa Claus.
Well, baka din may
Very
naughty,
naughty.
pero ayaw umamin na naughty. Kaya hindi na lamang isinama talaga dun sa listahan ng mga isa-certify as urgent, as priority legislation.
Congressman, kung under your proposal, sinong mamimili ng members nung commission ninyo? Kasi you're saying it's independent eh.
Sino mag-a-appoint?
Kung appointed yun ng presidente, hindi ba?
Yes, still
Pero
appoint.
yung nakikita natin ngayon, under your proposal, ano?
Under our proposal, it's still appointed by the president, pero malinaw yung criteria, malinaw sino yung magko-compose dito. No? So, on top of the 3 na meron ngayon, dadagdag pa natin isang industry expert. Kinikilala at ginagalang na haligi ng industriya, siguro dito sa construction and engineering sector, para tingnan, up to standard ba, up to par ba yung mga ginawang proyekto. Tapos mayroong civil society representative. Itong budget process, nakita natin kung gaano kahalaga ang participation ng civil society with our open BICAM proposal na in-adopt ng parehong Senado at Kongreso. With the civil society present in these bodies, talaga mabilis na spot nasan ang mga delikadong provision, nasan yung mga opportunities for corruption. In the case of the ICAIC, in the case of the current ICI, ito yung talagang glaring gap. Walang civil society representation.
Kung sakasakaling kung hindi mapasa, kasi sabi nyo, parang natatabangan na ay meron ba kayong plan B? What do you intend to do related to the work of the ICI? Yung ganon.
Well, we will still press on the President to certify this as urgent para bumilis yung pagpasa in the first 2 weeks pag-resumption. Kayang-kaya yan kung sakali man. Kasi pa-ready na yung committee report. Pero kung wala, tingin ko talagang maniningil ang taong bayan. Maniningil ang taong bayan at talagang eto na, bubulwak na lalo ang galit. At syempre, we will maximize the current mechanisms na meron tayo sa Kongreso na mga ways of exacting accountability. Pero sa dulo, ito kasi hinihingi ng taong bayan eh. At hanggang ngayon, nire-refuse na ibigay ng ating Pangulo at ng ating Kongreso.
Congressman, let's talk about the powers of the ICAIC versus the ICI right now, which is basically, well, powerless. What powers did you have intended for the ICAIC to be provided in law?
Well, you put it quite succinctly, Ed, nung sinabi mo na powerless. No? Kasi una, halimbawa, yun na lamang very basic. Sa ngayon, para lang nag-organize ng birthday party ang ICI, magpapadala ng invitation, tapos may option ka na mag-RSVP o may option ka na mag-decline. No? Kaya di ba wala siyang subpoena powers para talagang pilitin ka na umattend, kunin yung mga dokumento at ebidensya na kailangan. Tapos pangalawa, meron itong contempt powers para doon sa mga hindi pupunta, hindi magsasalita, o kaya naman ay yung sasadyaing iligaw yung investigasyon. So these are very important powers na dapat meron ang isang independent commission. And this could only be rendered by a legislation, in this case, the creation of a body by law. So yung dalawa pa lang na yun, mahalaga na, plus the expansion of the composition of the investigative body into what we now have 3, dagdagan pa natin ang 2 para maging truly representative of important sectors in society that have to be present on the investigating table.
Okay. Cambio ako sa Dynasty. Kayo, Bok. Okay na kayo sa ICI?
Okay na ako.
Okay na, okay na.
Antayin na lang natin yung ICAIC. Mapasa dun sa Committee on Appropriations.
Sir, Dynasty naman tayo. Nangako si Speaker D na susuporta niya yung Dynasty. Pati si Pangulong Marcos i-prioritize ng Kongreso yung anti-Dynasty law. Umuusad ba?
Well, nakita naman natin yung pinaka-recent na pinanukalang batas sa Kongreso. Ito yung mula sa ilang mga members of the leadership of the House of Representatives. Parang hindi siya anti-political dynasty necessarily. Parang legitimizing nga dynasties in general.
This is the speaker version. The speaker version.
Sandro Marcos.
Sandro.
Yes, oo. Na-legitimize yung dynasty. Parang sinabi lang, pwede kayo, pero dito sa mga level na ito, parang ginawa lang legal yung dynasty. And this, we believe, goes against the spirit of the Constitution. Kaya nga itong panukalang batas ng akbayan, yung Comprehensive Anti-Political Dynasty Bill, ito yung totoong tingin natin na sumasagot sa sinasabi ng Constitution na dapat talaga bawal ang dynasty. Para itong online order, di ba? Pa nag-order ka ng mga items online, meron kang in-order pero iba yung na-deliver sa'yo. In the case of the version now that's filed by the House leadership, parang hindi ito hinihingi ng taong bayan. Ang sabi ng taong bayan, ayaw namin ng dynasty. Dapat ang batas na lumabas, isang batas that will curb dynasties in our political system.
May feelers na ba sa inyo yung House leadership para pag-usapan yung possible compromise?
Wala pa doon sa possible compromise. Ang meron pa lamang ay possible timeline, yung schedule ng mga committee hearings. And we've heard that on top of the committee hearings dito, magkakaroon pa daw ng committee hearings and deliberations sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Pilipinas para magkakaroon ng roadshow. At dito medyo na-alarma na kami this early kasi ibig sabihin, hahaba yung proseso for something as basic as the anti-political dynasty law that is already very clear in our Constitution.
Sabi kasi ng isang cabinet secretary before Christmas sa akin, yung proposal daw kasi natin ay mass extinction.
Parang the dinosaurs.
Parang tinamaan ng meteorite.
Pero kasi sa isang sitwasyon kung saan unprecedented ang corruption, sa isang sitwasyon na dekada na at systemic na talaga yung patronage politics, baka kinakailangan talaga ng meteorite ng anti-political dynasty law para ang matira yung mga tunay at magagaling at makakayang mag-practice ng good governance.
Yung mga mamals. Tira lang kasi
Congressman,
doon
we
yung tao
talked to, we talked to Congresswoman Janet Garin Sabi niya, we have to be realistic kasi magpapasa niyan, Congress, na alam naman nating lahat na punong-puno ng mga dynast. Sabi niya, kailangan daw medyo workable yung kung gusto nating ipasa. Kaya nga yan yung actually ang final nila Boji D and Sandro Marcos, yan yung sinasabi sa amin ni Janet Garin na compromise na posibleng ipasa. Oo, posible siyang ipasa, sabi niya. What do you think of that argument?
Well, the way I'm seeing it now is itong binabanggit ninyo na panukalang batas, hindi siya compromise It's a compromised situation for the Filipino people. Nakokompromiso tayo kasi malinaw Ang problema natin katiwalian, isa sa dahilan patronage politics, alam natin yung diagnosis ng problema. Ang sakit talaga, isa dyan na kailangan tugunan, ugat, political dynasty. Pero pag nag-compromise tayo, yung outcome ng isabin, babalik lang din tayo sa dati. Babalik na naman tayo sa panahon na kinakailangan bumalik na EDSA para may exact accountability sa ating mga pinuno. So, this is not a time for compromise. This is a time for actual political will coming from our leaders. Parang for once naman, 3 dekada na silang bumoboto in favor of their family and personal interest. Baka naman ngayong taong bayan naman ang panigan nila. At kapag ang taong bayan hindi pinanigan, ready maningil ang ating mga kababayan.
Teka,
Kasi sinasabi niya, halimbawa sa Senado, wala na kayong makikita dyan magkakapatid o mag-ina. Sa House, wala na kayong makikitang congressman sa party list na magkakamag-anak. Tapos yung sa local, hindi na yung mayor at vice mayor. Ganon yung argument niya. Sabi niya, you can have the change in increments. Medyo maliit yung increment, pero sabi niya, if you're going to be realistic about it, dahan-dahan.
Sige. Yung 3 dekada na paghihintay ng taong bayan, hindi tayo ready na sabihin na increments lang ang kailangan. Ang kailangan natin ngayon ay drastic action. Hindi tayo makakarating dito sa sitwasyon na bilyon-bilyon na ninakaw kung totoong merong checks and balance in the system. Medyo hindi tayo makakarating sa sitwasyon kung saan grabe yung sabuatan sa loob ng gobyerno, kung saan na walang mga political dynasty. So, yung usapin ng compromise, usapin ng anong katanggap-tanggap sa ating mga policy makers, hindi ito yung bottom line. Ang bottom line ngayon, accountability. At alam natin, isa dun sa measures of accountability is ending political dynasty. Sa dulo, dito rin susukatin yung pamahalaan ni Bongbong Marcos. At yung leadership mismo ng mababang kapulungan at ng Senado, kung makaka-deliver ba sila ng isang substantial, genuine, acceptable, at dissenting anti-political dynasty legislation. Madalas sinatanong ng iba, hindi ba yung posisyon or yung bill ng leadership, hindi ba ito yung starting point nila in the negotiation? Maaring pwede, medyo extreme yung kanilang position, pero hopefully, they go towards the middle. At pagdating sa gitna, sana lumapit pa sila doon sa ating proposal at the other end of the table. Kasi yun talaga ang kailangan ng taong bayan sa ngayon.
Pero kayo ba, Kong Percy, ay willing na mag-move din sa middle? Kung sakaling mag-move sila sa middle, yung proponents nitong pro-dynasty na anti-dynasty bill.
Sa dulo naman, ang malinaw sa atin yung prinsipyo at sana yung prinsipyo na yun that will guide us in negotiating and navigating this very dangerous terrain of legislative negotiations. Pero dapat ang malinaw, ang unang gumalaw papunta doon sa mas decente at acceptable na anti-political dynasty law ay nasa extreme na dulong-dulo na halos hindi nire-regulate ang mga political dynasty. So we hope that the House leadership will budge and the House leadership will also recognize na talagang pag ang pinasa yung version nila, mas lalo magkakagulo sa ating bansa.
Ang panghuli, Kong Percy, anong status ng national budget for 2026? Anong tingin nyo ngayon dyan? Paano magbobotohan yata kayo sa 29?
So ngayon, hinintay pa natin yung final copy ng Bicameral Conference Committee. Ang pangako ng Appropriations Committee ng House ay ibibigay sa amin a day or 2 days before the vote on the 29th. So hopefully by tomorrow or Sunday, mahawakan namin ito. Pero syempre, yung una dyan, yung bukol na bukol talaga at talaga naman nakita natin halos malignant na yung program appropriations. Akala natin magtatagumpay yung Senado na tanggalin talaga ito kasi sa House, yan yung panawagan natin. Medyo binawasan pero hindi tinanggal. Pero yung nangyari sa bicameral conference, talagang ibinalik uli yung unprogrammed appropriations. At nakita natin, ito talaga yung nagiging source ng corruption nito mga nakaraang budget cycles. Tapos pangalawa, we're very concerned about the patronage politics enabling provisions of this budget. Parang, yun nga, walang insertions, pero sa dulo, nandun naman sa soft projects, yung patronage politics, yung soft pork kung tawagin nila. So, with this budget, imagine, meron ka isang budget that enables patronage politics, tapos hindi mo pa maipapasa ang anti-political dynasty law. Ano na ang mangyayari sa ating padating ng 2028? Baka mas malala sa nangyari sa atin noong 2022, kung hindi ito makokorek ngayon pa lamang.
Okay. Maraming salamat for talking to us today. Akbayan Party List Congressman Percy Sendanya. Sir, thank you po at good luck sa botohan.
Salamat, Kong.
Thank you, Congressman.
Marami pong salamat. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
You're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a break. We'll be right back.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
You've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Ed Lingao, and of course with us, Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star and Ronald Llamas, our resident political heckler. Ngiti naman dyan. Okay. And joining us this afternoon is Strat-based Group President, Professor Dindo Manhit. Sir, Professor Manhit, good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Dindo.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ed.
Hi,
Good afternoon,
Dindo.
Ronald. And hi, Ami. Merry Christmas.
Unang-una, Merry
everyone.
Christmas, sir.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Ah.
So, pasensya po,
Happy
nabala
New Year.
namin kayo. Pero po kasi, lumabas yung yung latest awareness and trust ratings and performance ratings ng Pangulo at ng Vice Presidente. Sir, for the President, we've seen a decline since June from, in sa March
Yes.
trust, for example, from 48, now at 38, that's 10 percentage points.
Imagine
Yes, sir.
the President recovering from the election, diba? Rising from May to June. And after his SONA, so maybe it's something that his political advisors should think about,
Meron
embracing
ba?
this issue on flood control, he went down from for 10%
Yes, sir.
already because the focus day in and day out is on the flood control, the massive corruption. Diba, galit nga ang tao. There's anger on people, and it has gone from trust to distrust. Parang lumipat sa distrust.
Meron ba siyang political advisor, Dindo?
Yun ang mahirap natin malaman talaga. No? And it's really unique to a government that does not have a political team maybe looking into this. So I'm hopeful, if you'd like us to be hopeful, that with the entry of the Executive Secretary, the new Executive Secretary, Ralph Recto, there might be chance that he might be the political advisor strategist for the President.
In a few days, Dindo, New Year na. Ang tingin mo, fearless forecast, ano mangyayari rito sa ratings ng Presidente next year? Na medyo delikado yung economy, tapos meron kang patuloy na anti-corruption movement, no, etc. etc. Marami pa rin expose na lumalabas. So, anong tingin mo? How will the President fare next year and how will he handle itong very crucial year na ito?
It depends on how your keyword there is yung he handles. No? Because ang very important dito ay yung can they address this issue that's on top of mind of people, or can they also address one that is upper or mas higher in terms of priority, which is yung kahirapan sa pang-araw-araw na kabuhayan, no? The basic economics of our people, which continues to be on top of corruption. So if they can address these two things, use the different social programs, social initiatives to intervene and help uplift the lives of our people, especially on the cost of living, that will boost the President and on one hand, really make people accountable. Napanahon na at lahat tayo ay nag-intay nitong Disyembre, pero wala namang nakulong. May mga kaso. Siguro sana maumpisa ng taon na ang mga kasong ito progresses in the ombudsman leads to arrest at makita ng taong bayan na may enough evidence to really help the prosecution of these guilty parties dito sa flood control.
Sabi
Pero
niya,
Dindo, to what do you attribute this fall sa net rate? Sa distrust at saka November
Yung
to kinuha. Hindi pa naman masyadong nangungulit mga tao by that time. Wala pang Pasko nun eh. Ano kaya yung dahilan niya? What do you think?
Consistent talaga ang hinanaing ng tao, no? Nung third quarter pa lamang, a quarter after the increase of the president and the slow decline of the president in the third quarter, dalawang issue, no? Yung issue amin ng mataas na presyo ng bilihin ang nangunguna, but makita rin natin ang presyo ng bilihin na-address lang naman yan through either job opportunities, livelihood, management of inflation, no? And government is perceived as has failed in the eyes of the public when they cannot address this. At more so pa, yung araw na nababalita ng tao na may issue nitong palala ang numero ng corruption at parang sa kanila siguro, sino ba ang mananagot dito? Sino ba ang dapat panagutin ng Pangulo? Kahit kaya nasukat yan, we are really capturing up to November 30 and we're hoping yung iba naming partners din on surveys will come out in the next few weeks para makita natin tong December period. We're trying to capture tong September 21 to November 30 political noise, no? Na talagang tungkol sa flood control from hearings to mobilizations. Pero ang basa ko dyan ay lalo-lalo na pag nakita natin sa NCR, ang isang nagpababa sa Pangulo, Visayas, continues to be low. And of course, we can expect Mindanao. But NCR is where the political noise is coming from. And they want accountability. They want action on the part of this government or the institutions of this government, from the judicial system, the Justice Department, to the Ombudsman.
yes, sir. Sir,
Pero
when you...
tumatama na ba kay Presidente? Kasi yung pinakabago lang dyan naman pati mga kamag-anak niya and his top officials na link dun sa corruption scandal Tumama na ba sa kanya yun? Is that being reflected?
It could be. No, it's hard to connect that. It could be reflected with this 10% decline. Or also another point is, may ginawa na ba kayo? Puro ingay. May ginawa ba? So yung hinihingi ng tao, which is, we need to connect this to some of our questions that we raised from September and November and even October, that ang katanungan nga doon ano bang nais yung mangyari sa itong issue ng corruption? Malakas ang tunog, ang suporta ng tao sa may panagutin. Wala pang pinananagot hanggang ngayon.
Sir, when Ronald asked you about your fearless forecast, sabi niyo it depends if he can address these issues, at least these two issues that you talked about a while ago. But that's a very big if. From what you see, anong indicators that you have seen so far that show or fail to show that he's already addressing these two issues, whether it's corruption perception or prices?
The only thing that he has done on the part of his government, of course, appoint a new executive secretary, and that could someone that understands the political economy of voters, diba? Kandidato, dati, nanalo, and brings a political mind to it. I'm referring to Secretary Ralph Recto. No? But on the
Pero
other hand,
nililink si Recto dun sa yung PhilHealth Yung impounding of the 89.9 billion.
Pero
And
hindi kasi lahat
he's
ng-
actually facing a plunder complaint because of that.
Yes, pero dapat sana yung nagdi-link sa kanya, basahin yung Supreme Court. Nakasulat doon na pinatutupad lang ng dating Department of Finance Secretary, yung Supreme Court, the decision that won the case based on the General Appropriations Act. So that's a different discussion. So not because someone files, or is it really an attempt forces to weaken also the government. No? Kasi very clear na walang accountability on the part of Secretary Recto dun sa PhilHealth dahil yun yung desisyon ng Supreme Court. That gave victory to the petitioners. No? May line on the Secretary of Health, Secretary of Finance, there, Ani.
May
So, sa
presumption
akin,
of regularity. May presumption of regularity.
Yes, oo. Kasi pinatupad niya lang yung na-approve na General Appropriations provision. Kaya, I don't know kung paano aabante ito mga kasong ito o pinapahina lang talaga yung posisyon ng Executive Secretary who might bring something different to the government. But again, at the core of all this is the government has all the tools and the capital. I'm referring to the budget for 2026, still has the control of both houses of Congress to push for certain legislation that can institutionalize reforms against corruption, and even institutionalize political reforms from Freedom of Information to Political Dynasty Act that can improve the stature of the president. And again, we have an executive secretary that knows how to engage with the legislator. So that's the only thing I'm hopeful for, because we're not really seeing anything at this time.
On a different note, Dindo, nakita naman natin yung pag-unravel ng approval, trust, at performance rating ng presidente. Pero the Vice President, nagpa-plateau din siya. Ibig sabihin, wala naman siyang dramatic increase. Within the margin of error din, yung kanyang increase.
Totoo yan.
Meron ka ba nakikita na nagle-level up na political leader who could be an alternative? Halimbawa, who could harness itong anti-corruption movement na lumalaki?
As of now, wala. If we will relate it to a question that we had last September, end of September, and similar to the question that, or the results that was shared by another group of colleagues from LaSalle in WR Numero, it's within our same area kami ng mga 31 to a little over 30% ang undecided. Nobody is capturing that. The one who captures that can have that momentum, but right now that's an open season. No? Maybe nobody has really taken the cudgels. Of course, when you ask and maybe try to analyze the noise coming from the supporters of the Vice President, they think they have that. No? But the mere fact the undecided is going up and it's not going to them, it's looking for that group, for that maybe broad coalition, not to be led by anyone at this time, but by that broad coalition that will not only focus on corruption per se, but how can we address the basic and economic needs of our people that is being exacerbated by corruption issue and the misuse of government funds.
Okay, maraming salamat for joining us this afternoon. Strat-based Group President Professor Dindo Manhit. Sir, thank you for joining us today.
Salamat. Happy New Year!
Happy New Year po.
Happy New Year in spite of everything.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Talaga may ganun pa eh.
May pa-counting pa
May
habol.
cambio pa eh.
Pag happy weekend ka na lang sa nanonood sa'yo.
Happy weekend na.
Pag happy weekend ka na lang sa
O, sige
manonood
na
sa'yo.
nga. Happy weekend na. O, yan na.
Sa mga loob niya eh.
O, happy.
Mamimiss niyo kasi si Ronald ng Sabado-Linggo. Okay, sige.
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend. Ami, happy weekend.
In
Happy
spite of
weekend.
everything.
Oh, yan, sige. Mag-goodbye na tayo.
Lagi may cambio eh.
Patayin niyo nga mic dito. Well, thank you for joining StoryCon today. Ami Pamintuan, ng editor ng Philippine Star, and Tito Ronald Llamas, a resident political heckler. Happy weekend, everybody, and Merry Christmas. Join us again on Monday at 4 p.m. for the StoryCon. I'm Ed Lingao, he's Ronald Llamas, and she is Ami Pamintuan. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time.
This is the Story Conference Group or the StoryCon Group.